Ray Brown's Talkin' Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com. By FeatherSnap, the smart bird feeder with a high-resolution camera and species identification software aimed to educate and spread joy to every level of avian enthusiast. Learn more at feathersnapcam.com.
And by Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.
Good morning, afternoon, or evening, and welcome to our show number 1022. Well, from the growing list of examples of the dire effects of climate change comes the story of an enormous loss in a seabird population, the common murre in Alaska. We're admittedly late getting to this story, and thanks to Kimberly Mutu for first alerting us to it. This has been widely reported, and a Washington Post headline described how scientists confirmed the largest bird-killing event in modern history. Researchers say that a marine heat wave in the Pacific that began a decade ago killed some 4 million common murres in Alaska. The Post quotes Megan Williams, a fisheries scientist for the Ocean Conservancy's Arctic program, as saying, quote, "We can't expect the Bering Sea, for instance, and the Gulf of Alaska to stay as productive as they have been for the last 50 to 100 years. Some of these species may not be supported by the marine ecosystem anymore." And that's really tragic. End quote. Tragic indeed. Well, here's some good news about monarch butterflies, which have undergone a dramatic decline in population in recent years. The U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service is proposing protection for the monarch and is encouraging the public to be part of its recovery. They're seeking public input on a proposal to list the monarch as threatened, with protections and flexibilities to encourage conservation under the Endangered Species Act. Public comments will be accepted on the proposal until March 12th of 2025. The service will then evaluate the comments and any additional information and determine whether to list the monarch butterfly as a threatened species. So probably the easiest way to see how to make a comment is just to Google or do a search for how to comment on monarch butterfly status or words to that effect. That works. We tried it. Meanwhile, we're looking forward to a spring delivery of some of those native milkweed plants on which monarchs rely that we'll be trying to grow in our Talkin' Birds garden. And speaking of places where birds are fed, like our garden, folks want to know if they should be feeding birds now with the growing threat of avian flu. Well, here's what the Cornell Lab of Ornithology has to say about that. There has been widespread transmission of avian flu to wild bird species, including waterfowl and raptors. The virus has also been found in mammals that prey on dead birds. However, transmission to songbirds and other typical feeder visitors has been low, only about 3% of all cases reported in wild birds, although they say this may change with increased testing or changes to the virus. That means there is currently a low risk of an outbreak among wild songbirds, and according to the National Wildlife Disease Program, there is no official recommendation to take down feeders unless you also keep domestic poultry. We do always recommend, says the lab, that you clean bird feeders and bird baths regularly as a way to keep many kinds of diseases at bay. The lab says, this is important, we always also recommend that you follow any recommendations put out by your state government, even in cases where that advice conflicts with ours. The CDC's page on avian influenza in birds compiles additional helpful information and resources. So that's from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology. That CDC site is easy to navigate, by the way, through a search for bird flu. Sounds like your old Evinrude 10-horse outboard motor starting up or trying to start up, but it's actually our mystery bird, and this is a preview of our mystery bird contest that we'll do later in the show. And a reminder that we like to do periodically is that wherever you are on the planet, you can hear our show live and you can interact with our mystery bird contest. Find out how to do it at talkingbirds.com, talkingbirds.com.
There's no G in talking.
No G in there, and just click on the Listen tab up there at the top of the page to see how you can listen live wherever you are. So our mystery bird, you heard the sound there. It's part of the waterfowl family, Anatidae. The male is mostly a dark reddish brown with a black cap that extends below the eyes and down the nape. It has a white face and a sky blue bill. The descriptive word spiky has been applied to its tail feathers. The female is a mix of dark and light browns. Our bird breeds through much of western Canada and the northwestern U.S. and winters mostly across the U.S. Sunbelt. It feeds on aquatic insects, crustaceans, and other invertebrates, along with some plants and seeds, foraging mostly by diving to the bottom of shallow ponds. Our mystery bird there. Wonderful prizes await for the winner of our contest by getting the right answer or by drawing, if no one does get it, from Fresh Cut Paper, makers of beautiful life-size pop-up floral bouquets that are wilt-proof and crafted to last a lifetime. We have a certificate for 5 bouquets. And yes, they have bird-themed bouquets among their selections, and their bouquets have a small fraction of the carbon footprint of imported flowers. Also, they plant a tree for every bouquet they sell, so we're really happy to have Fresh Cut Paper as a prize provider. Same goes for Birds and Beans Coffee, our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, and truly delicious, grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America to preserve wintering habitat. For all those birds we love to see up north in the spring and summer, warblers, tanagers, thrushes, hummingbirds, so many birds that we love chilling down in the tropics right now and having their habitats preserved, thanks in part to shade-grown coffee. So Birds and Beans, a big bag available here in our Mystery Bird contest this morning, and we'll do the actual thing a little bit later on in the program here. That's our signal to say thank you to another member of the royalty of the Talking Birds family, and that's our ambassadors, Talking Birds ambassadors, who help us get the word out about our show and the importance of birds and conservation. And we want to say thank you to Jasmine Morgan from Etobicoke, Ontario, Canada. Thank you, Jasmine. Thanks for the kind comments about the show. Glad you enjoy it. And by the way, Jasmine was a Mystery Bird contest winner back in October, and then joined our ambassadors family. So thank you again, Jasmine. Meanwhile, Talking Birds listeners, if you'd like to help us spread the word about birds and conservation, which is our mission here, please join our Talking Birds ambassadors family. I always say it's very easy to sign up and very easy to be an ambassador, but you don't have to take my word for it. You can take it from an actual Talking Birds ambassador who happens to be from another Canadian province.
My name's Chrissy Merton, and I'm calling from Abbotsford, BC in Canada. I like being a Talking Birds ambassador because it makes me feel like I'm part of something. It feels good to be part of it and just know that I'm out there helping spread the word about birds and conservation. If you were thinking whether or not it's for you to become an ambassador, I would say just do it. It's super easy. You send an email and you give me your information, and then the cards show up at your house. You can do what I do and post on social media. It's totally up to you. You can do what you want, as much or as little as you want. Super easy.
Super easy is right. Thank you so much, Chrissy. Super easy to join and be an ambassador. And we find that our ambassadors like doing it. So here's how to do it. Just go to talkingbirds.com, that same website again, to the Get Involved tab. It's right up there at the top of the homepage at talkingbirds.com. Still to come today, we'll learn something new about birds communicating while navigating in nocturnal migration. Also today, Mike O'Connor will join us for Let's Ask Mike Live. And we'll learn something about mixed flocks of birds, that is, and what the advantages are of that. And up next, in connection with all the snow that's been falling this month, including in some usually snow-free places, we now present this week's featured feathered friend. That's the sound of shoveling snow. If you're down south, you may not have been familiar with that sound until this winter. Snow such as hasn't been seen in decades has fallen in unlikely places like Mobile, Alabama, Biloxi, Mississippi, Pensacola, Florida, and New Orleans, Louisiana. The Louisiana town of Grand Coteau got covered in more than 13 inches of snow last week. This is, of course, by way of introducing this week's featured feathered friend, a bird so identified with snow that that word is part of its nickname and its common name. The nickname is snowflake, and its common name is snow bunting. The snow bunting is a chunky, medium-sized songbird. Males in winter have white underparts, a dark, streaky back and wings with rusty-colored crown and ear patches. It could be argued that non-breeding females are more colorful than males, with more extensive patches of that rusty plumage. Females lose most of that rusty color in summer, and breeding males are nearly all white with a black back. That change from brownish to pure white for their Arctic breeding season comes about when males rub their feathers on hard-packed snow, wearing down the brown feather tips to reveal the white plumage below. As snow buntings search for seeds on stalks of grass and weeds and sedges in nearly barren winter fields, they can look like snowflakes swirling through the air. Not surprisingly, a group of them is known collectively as a drift of buntings. Today's featured feathered friend, Plectrophonex nivalis, the snow bunting. Cold outside, and a lot of snow in lots of places. Welcome again to our show number 1022. Well, bird communication is a complex and fascinating subject. We're about to learn a little bit more about it in connection with nocturnal migration bird talk as we meet up with our own Debbie Bleacher in the Talkin' Birds Science Corner.
Come up to the lab and see what's on the slab.
Good morning, Debbie.
Good morning, Ray.
So, new research concerning songbirds vocalizing to one another while they migrate at night. What have we learned?
Some pretty cool stuff. We've known for a while that they vocalize while flying in flocks, but researchers at the University of Illinois Urbana-Champaign have discovered that songbirds flying with other species vocalize too. The researchers think that these sounds are cross-species chatter.
Wow. Well, that leads to a lot of questions, but I'll start with, how do they make the recordings?
Well, that's a great question. The team set up ground-based microphones at 26 sites across eastern North America. Get this, they collected more than 18,300 hours of flight calls.
Yow. Did some poor grad student have to listen to all that?
No. Technology has improved since I was in grad school. They used a kind of AI along with a customized version of Merlin Bird ID. That's the one we all know from the Cornell Lab of Ornithology.
Yeah. So what did the analysis find?
It found that birds from different species that were flying near one another called to one another in specific patterns. They weren't just random noises. That made the researchers think that these birds might be exchanging some kind of social information.
Such as?
Well, birds can't exchange business cards while they're flying.
I've heard that, but
seriously, the researchers suppose they might be introducing themselves or maybe exchanging information about things they need to know while migrating, like landing spots and weather conditions.
So why does this matter?
First, because studying how birds communicate helps us understand how they think, what's important to them, how their brains and their senses work, and maybe even how we could one day communicate with them.
And second?
Second, if we know that birds do communicate by sound during night migration, maybe we can make an effort to be quieter for them.
That is a great idea. Fascinating as always, Debbie. Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure, Ray.
A little visit there with Debbie Bleacher to our Talking Birds Science Corner. Yeah, by the way, if you have any ideas about Science Corner topics, give us a holler and let us know. We'll see if we can get something going in the Science Corner. The address, the best address, just ray@talkingbirds.com, ray@talkingbirds.com. Coming up, it's our Mystery Bird Contest in just 1 minute. The flutter of a tail feather, the flash of a wing bar in mid-flight. You don't always have a lot of time to identify a bird in nature, let alone to appreciate its beauty. But with Vortex Optics, you'll have the power to bring every wild moment closer. When you choose Vortex, you're choosing to have a partner in the field as passionate about nature as you are. Whether you're spotting old friends on the backyard feeder or packing for a once-in-a-lifetime trip to add a few species to your life list, Vortex offers a full range of optics and optics accessories for every birder and every budget. And whether the birds are taking you to another state or another country, you're always covered by the Vortex VIP warranty, an unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. If you'd like to learn more, or if you need help choosing your next optic, give Vortex a call at 1-800-4VORTEX or visit vortexoptics.com. There's that little outboard motor bird again. That's our mystery bird. And if you missed the clues that we gave earlier, I'll give them again here in a moment. Just that reminder again. For next time, anyway, if you're not hearing our show live, go to talkingbirds.com. You'll see how easy it is to do that. Just click the Listen tab. Prizes from Fresh Cut Paper, makers of beautiful life-sized pop-up floral bouquets that are wilt-proof and crafted to last a lifetime. We have a certificate for 5 bouquets, bird-themed bouquets among those selections. And this we didn't mention last time is the fact that our friends at Fresh Cut partner with 1% for the Planet, which is an international organization whose members contribute at least 1% of their annual revenue to environmental causes. And then a big bag of our favorite coffee, shade-grown, bird-friendly, and delicious birds and beans coffee grown under the natural forest canopy in Central America, preserving habitat for birds and lots of other creatures as well. We often do a bonus question if we have time, and if we do the bonus question and get a winner there, we'll also give away this beautiful thing, which is great for your home and your birds, and it's the feather-friendly bird window collision kit so that you can make the windows in your house visible to birds so that they do not crash into them. That would be in our bonus question, if we have time for that. Our mystery bird is part of the waterfowl family Anatidae. The male is mostly a dark reddish-brown with a black cap that extends below the eyes and down back on the nape, has a white face and a sky blue bill. And the descriptive word spiky has been applied in describing its tail feathers. The female, quite different, a mix of dark and light browns. Our bird breeds through much of western Canada and the northwestern U.S., winters mostly across the U.S. Sunbelt states. It feeds on aquatic insects, crustaceans, and other invertebrates, along with some plants and seeds, and it feeds by foraging along the bottom of shallow ponds. Our mystery bird there and the prizes and so on, and the important number to call as soon as possible so that we have time for the old contest here is 781-837-4900. Once again, that's 781-837-4900. Call us with your answer or a guess, because that could also produce winnership on our contest. Meanwhile, Let's Ask Mike Live is coming up here in just 1 minute.
Ready to take your backyard bird watching to the next level? FeatherSnap makes Wi-Fi-enabled smart bird feeders that blend the best of technology and nature. Get a high-def glimpse of your feathered friends with a top-of-the-line camera so every visitor can be seen with clarity and detail. A unique dual feeder bin helps attract more species, and built-in solar panels keep your camera's battery going strong. FeatherSnap's mobile app creates a truly immersive experience, allowing you to collect and organize your favorite pics and videos and earn badges along the way. FeatherSnap is a convenient and fun way to capture powerful images of your local birds and help get your friends and family excited about bird watching. Best of all, FeatherSnap offers expert-trained AI identification of more than 275 North American species, thanks to their in-house ornithologist. Check them out today at feathersnapcam.com. feathersnapcam.com.
Michael Connor is there at the famous Birdwatchers General Store on Cape Cod, where the sun is always shining, although I'm hearing complaints about clouds today. I don't know if that's really true, but
that's just a rumor, right?
Just a rumor. Thank you for confirming that, because that would change everything. I mean,
did you just say the word wintership? Did I hear you say?
Kind of just made that one up. Yeah. What do you think?
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
I like that.
I like that one. But,
yeah. The dictionary just got us new entry for 2025.
Well, they're always looking for new words, so we're happy to help. We can help add a new one. So,
oh my God.
So mixed flocks of birds. So we hear about mixed flocks, and this happens, certainly not in breeding season, right? Because birds are a little bit antagonistic to one another generally in breeding season, but in the winter it's different, and what happens?
Yeah, well, I think we all know the classic flocks of birds, those giant flocks of starlings that we see, or Canada geese, and they move, and birds flock for assorted reasons. Starlings, I think, to avoid predators. You get that giant murmuration of starlings moving around, and if a merlin or a falcon wants to pick one off, that's all that craziness going on, and they can't focus on one bird. And I think Canada geese, which don't have a lot of big enemies, but they do migrate in flocks because it helps conserve energy when they make that classic V. Other ducks do a single line where they fly behind each other, and it helps conserve energy by getting the draft. But other birds, and pretty common throughout the world, that birds in the winter, like you said, forage in mixed flocks. I think here in the suburbs, we're familiar with the more traditional birds like nuthatches, which is just landed on my feet now, white-breasted nuthatch, and chickadees and titmice and downy woodpeckers and kinglets and creepers. They all seem to hang around together a little bit in the wintertime, and they call this mixed flock foraging, and kind of the reason they think they do that, because as opposed to a single flock of a single species flock like the starlings, these birds, every bird brings a little bit something to the table, some advantages. One of the advantages they all forage differently. So a nuthatch comes down the tree looking for food, where a creeper goes up the tree looking for food, where the woodpecker drills into the tree, and birds like kinglets eat off the branches. So they're feeding together, but they're not going for the same food source or the same area looking for the food. And the other advantage is that certain birds like chickadees are typically non-migratory, so they know the area, they know the hood, so they know where the food is, and so the other birds take advantage of the chickadees' ability to find food in an area, and they follow the chickadees. And the titmice, which are super aware, wicked aware of what's going on around them, they're like the sentry birds, and they know what's going on. So birds like downy woodpeckers, for example, they spend more time foraging when there's titmice in the flock, because they know they'll sound the alarm a little bit quicker than if they were just feeding by themselves. So the mixed flock is a way of, and it's not just, that's the birds we know, but in the tropics, some of our migrating birds go down in the tropics and they hook up with the local birds, where they take advantage of those skills down there. And it's just the same way. Like in my business, I hire all people, but everybody has a little bit different role. I got big guys to carry the bird seed. I got some artsy folks who make the displays. I got some eggheads that know all about the birds, and then somebody like myself is, just the eye candy. So it's all good mixture.
Right. You got it all figured out. You have your own mixed flock right at the Birdwatchers General
That's
Store.
Right, the mixed flock.
Right inside the store. That is pretty good. Mike, thanks for all that info.
It's well worth it, wasn't it?
It's just
we'll
plaything.
Next week, Greg.
All right, thank you, Mike. Michael Connor. That music is so loud. Mike O'Connor down there at the famous Birdwatchers General Store on Cape Cod, where it's always sunny, except for today. All right, we're back here to the Mystery Bird Contest, and we're going to add one more clue. This bird is a duck. This bird is a duck. Part of the waterfowl family called Anatidae. The male is mostly dark reddish-brown with a black cap that extends below the eyes and down the nape. That's in the back of the neck there. A white face and a very distinctive sky blue bill. And that descriptive word spiky is applied to its tail feathers, which stick right up, kind of like some wren species almost, except bigger. The female is a mix of dark and light browns. Our bird breeds through much of western Canada and the northwestern U.S. and winters across the U.S. Sunbelt. It feeds on aquatic insects, crustaceans, and other invertebrates, along with some plants and seeds, and forages mostly by diving to the bottom of shallow ponds. That's our mystery bird. We'll hear it one more time, and those beautiful prizes await from Fresh Cut Paper, 5 of those gorgeous bouquets, including bird-themed bouquets among their selections, and a big bag of our favorite coffee shade-grown, bird-friendly, and delicious birds and beans coffee grown under the natural forest canopy to preserve wintering habitats for birds. 781-837-4900 is the number, and I'll give that number again in just a moment as we remind you that we are almost out of time on our show this morning. So get your call in as soon as you can. 781-837-4900. We meant earlier to give a little plug for plurting. That's something we do around here. Plurting is a mashup word for picking up litter while birding. We know lots and lots of folks like to do it while they're out birding, cleaning up, especially the plastics out on the trails or beaches, wherever you are looking for birds. We have our beautiful little Proud Plurter badges that we send out to folks who sign up as Proud Plurters to help you show your plurting pride. And that's very easy to do. We try to make everything easy around here so we can figure it out. But if you go to our website, that famous talkingbirds.com, and just look for plurting or how to become a plurter, I think it says there. Just look for the word plurting or plurter anyway. You'll find it there quite easily. Meanwhile, we have Jason somewhere in Arizona on the line here for our Mystery Bird Contest. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Buckeye, Arizona.
Buckeye, Arizona. Nice. Which is where? I don't think I know Buckeye.
It's just west of Phoenix, about 40 miles.
40 miles west of Phoenix. Okay, so it's kind of southern Arizona.
Yes, sir.
Is that southeast? Will you call it southeast? I think.
That's going to be, southwest Arizona.
Southwest Arizona, where Phoenix is. I'm going to get my map out again here. Well, anyway, Jason, what do you think on that mystery bird?
I like our bird today as the ruddy duck.
You like it as the ruddy duck? All right. I like it, too. The ruddy duck. An amazing-looking bird for sure. Very aggressive bird. I'm just reading here the other day how aggressive they are to each other and even to other species, and have been observed chasing rabbits that are feeding along the shore. Anyway, good job, Jason. We're out of time, but hang on the line, and Jesse will get your info.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for calling. Thank you, Jason. The ruddy duck, our mystery bird. Next week, our friend Jerry Barrier will be with us to tell us about the new nationwide first-ever blind birdathon. Thanks for being with us. See you next week.
The Bird Show. I like that. I love it.
Ray Brown's Talking Birds.
Made possible by the generous support of the Birdwatchers General Store, Orleans, Cape Cod. Birdwatchersgeneralstore.com. By Feather Snap, the smart bird feeder with a high-resolution camera and species identification software aimed to educate and spread joy to every level of avian enthusiast. Learn more at feathersnapcam.com.
And by Vortex Optics, with the VIP warranty, their unlimited lifetime promise to keep you and your optic covered. Learn more at vortexoptics.com.